Well, hey friends, so glad you stopped by to hang out with me today as we tiptoe or peek over the fence a little bit into some fall time feels. It's September, happy September. When the months end in burr, Natalie gets cozy. And what a perfect day to cozy up to. This overcast, slightly stormy weather was perfect as I spent some time in the garden this morning. I harvested some vegetables that we're putting into a beef barley soup that I'm gonna feed our family with tonight, as well as another family. My dear friend is sick today. She's got 4 kiddos and I'm doing the cooking for her. Happy to bring their family some dinner, so I'm making double. And I don't know about you, but if you're anything like me, this time of the year, especially on social media, can kind of feel like time is a runaway train. There's so much hustle and bustle and buy, and back to school and preemptive autumn content. And I just thought that you and I could slow down together and live really intentionally today and keep each other company, doing the things that we love to do. One of the things I love to do is garden, so it was wonderful to get out there. I also love to cook, so we're gonna hop into the kitchen. And later on, I have an antique vintage haul to share with you. I found some goodies while we were on a trip to Idaho recently. More on that in a bit. Let's head to the kitchen and get this beef soup started. What was that? I think there's thunder.
Me too.
I thought I was hearing it while I was outside, kind of like rumbling off in the distance when we were out in the garden. If you're wondering what this cozy video on our TV screen is behind me, I will link it in the description box of this video. This is one of my favorite channels of all time, and there's actually a few channels kind of like it that do similar sort of cozy ambiance, really sort of classic, almost like an old Disney cartoon sort of motif, with vintage music playing in the background. It kind of sounds like it's in another room. Sometimes there's rain or thunder noises with it, or like a crackling fire. It's the ultimate, we call them cozy ambiance videos in our family. We love it so much. So I'm adding just some basic seasonings to the beef that I have in here, a little bit of soy sauce. We also have some bone broth to add to this. It's gonna be so good. I have a question for you. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. It's just your mom being a dork, but this is parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, just like that song. Oh, that smells so good. It smells like fall time. Reminds me of Thanksgiving, all of those herbs. When people ask me for gardening advice, one of my top things that I like to share is that herbs are probably your biggest return on investment, especially because to buy bundles of herbs, fresh herbs from the grocery store or farmer's market is so expensive when, I mean, you don't even have to have land or much space at all. When we lived in the little neighborhood on a postage stamp before we moved here, I had little pots in my kitchen windowsill of herbs. I've always loved to grow herbs, and it's always cheaper to grow them yourself than to go buy them from the store. So I've got a little bundle here that's just gonna kind of infuse.
With the thread on it?
Yeah, the thread is food safe. It's kitchen twine. I'm gonna continue to fill this up with more water. Now this tea towel smells like herbs. Love it. This is going to be a meaty soup. Wow. I think I'll put some onion slices in there too, just to get that broth going. All right, there we go. I'm gonna let that simmer all day long. And while I chop up these veggies here, I'm just gonna kind of prep them for later. I thought it would be fun to kind of chat with the kids. I'll stand here and work on that, and they're over here at our dining room table. I'm gonna be chatting with them about our autumn bucket list for this year. I thought that would be fun. Linus and Sally, Great Pumpkin notepad. I'm gonna hand this to you. And can you make notes about what we... Yeah, if you need help spelling something. Okay, this crock pot is quite warm. It's here on the edge. Everyone be careful of it. Are you taking notes? So, what should go on our bucket list for this autumn time? Fall food at Trader Joe's. Okay.
Watch Charlie Brown.
Oh, watch Charlie Brown. Yep. H-G-R-E-A-T.
I did P-U-M first.
P-U-M-P-K-I-N. Sometimes we miss the P because we want to say pumpkin, but it's pumpkin. How about apple picking at Grandma's house? One of you said it earlier when I mentioned zucchini. Do you remember what you said we should do?
Zucchini bread? Squash?
Zucchini bread? Speaking of zucchini, look at that weird one.
That looks like a squash, more like a squash than a zucchini.
I know.
Z-U-K-A.
Z-U-K-E for zook. What do you call a cucumber?
Cute.
A cuke. Zooks and cukes, although I think cuke muffins would be kind of weird. Oh, okay, well, speaking of zook, I accidentally dropped a piece. It went flying over there. I think Opie's gonna have his first zucchini. What do you think, Opie?
How about the harvest party at church?
I think that would be fun. You wanna put that on the list? Look at this golden beet. Isn't that pretty? A pumpkin patch, that would be fun too.
Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Ichabod and Mr. Toad, yes. Add that to the list. Ichabod, I-C-H-B-O-D, Ichabod. Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Oh, this is getting me so excited for fall time. I think this purple pepper is too cool looking to pop into a soup. I think I want to save this for like a veggie board. I didn't use one of the carrots and one of the zucchini, but I will later on this week. And the rest of the celery I'm going to throw into here just to continue to flavor the stock. I think we have a good autumn bucket list going. And I've got these veggies chopped and ready to go. These will get roasted in the oven. Look at how pretty that rainbow of colors is. But these ones, the more delicate ones, will get sauteed in a pan, and then everything will be added to the soup later on. That's amore. The world seems to shine like you've had too much wine. That's amore. Okay, the soup is prepped. I do have some chive feta muffins, like a savory bready muffin that I'm going to be making to go with this. We'll make that later on because that's more of a freshly baked thing. As you can hear, the dishwasher is getting unloaded. I'm gonna sneak out to the front porch. It's beautiful right now, and do a little fall decor antique haul. I think we may have a storm rolling in. The trees are starting to get a little wild. If you look closely, you might see some leaves falling behind me back here in this forest. But I thought it would be nice to sit here on the front porch swing and do this vintage haul for you all. I visited an antique store while we were in Victor, Idaho. One of the perks of a road trip is that you can bring some extra goodies home with you and you're not having to pack things into a suitcase, and I found some treasures here, and I think they're gonna be perfect for some fall decor and beyond. I found this was on the steps of an antique shop in Idaho, and I just fell in love instantly. I love to collect terracotta or clay pots, planters. That little fox face with the feet on the bottom is so cute. I can just see an autumn time mum planted in this. I think that would be really pretty. Anything, honestly, would be really pretty in this. I also, speaking of garden, I picked up this little blueberry harvester thing, which also can harvest chamomile blooms pretty effectively. I've seen videos of that, and I have both in my garden, so I can definitely make good use of that. I like to, out here on the porch swing, rotate my pillows seasonally, or pillow covers, and I've really been into sort of tapestry pillows that are kind of like a 90s mom vibe. So I found this one, and this will definitely remind me of that sort of Western country, rustic themed style that they have all over that area where we were visiting. So this one I think is beautiful, perfect for the autumn time. That will probably replace this pillow that I had for the summertime. And then, speaking of Western themed, I picked up one of the elk horns that they had at this antique shop. They had several for sale. I don't think it's an antique or vintage, but it's one of those novelty items, and my boys have been fascinated by these. They were all over the place, and especially like the arches in Jackson Hole, Wyoming in downtown. Those are so iconic, and there are thousands of them in those arches, but we grabbed one for us to take home. I think this will go on one of our school shelves in the schoolroom right over here. This isn't specifically for fall time, but I do a lot of hosting during this time of the year, and I thought that this soup tureen, I mean, how gorgeous. Look at the lid, look at the pottery work on that. Has a slot for a spoon to go into. I mean, how gorgeous is this? This is obviously handmade. It has these handles on it. Beautiful on the inside. Not a crack in sight on the bowl itself. There is a little crack here in the lid, but that's okay. But how pretty. I think that this would be gorgeous on my buffet for when we host Thanksgiving. While we were driving over to, we had 16 hours on the road from here to our destination. I was doing a lot of fall content, fall decor, planning and kind of dreaming and scheming. And I thought that it would be fun to find a little house figurine or a cookie jar with a lid in the shape of a house that has a chimney. How cute is that? And I thought it would be cool to somehow figure out, I still have to figure this out, how to drill a hole or chip away a hole in the chimney so that if I put a small essential oils diffuser, this is obviously not vintage, this small one, put it in there, start it up, and that steam mist that comes out of it would find its way up through the chimney, and it would look like the house has a little fire burning in the wood stove. I just think that would be so darling and cute and cozy. So this, I actually did a Google image search. I found a lot of these cookie jars being sold on eBay, same exact thing. Cute little roof. I think it's like an English cottage. It reminds me of the thatched cottages that we saw all over Ireland when Weston and I were there in April visiting Weston's mom's side of the family. So it was pretty fun to find something that reminded me of that trip when we were over on a trip for Weston's dad's side of the family. Stay tuned to see how that little house essential oil diffuser project goes. I'm going to be attempting that in my fall clean and decorate with me video that I post every year. This year, it's going up on September 17th. So mark your calendars or put a little reminder in your phone, because often the YouTube notifications fail us even when we ask for them. Womp womp. I also have a couple of other little vintage antique pieces that I'm going to be sharing you in addition to what I shared in this haul, so stay tuned for that. But last but not least, something else that I found in that little Idaho antique store is this Heidi book. This is in the Illustrated Junior Library. I actually have a couple of other titles in this series, and it has beautiful color and black and white illustrations all throughout. This one is from 1945, so that's really special. And look at how beautiful this front cover is. That illustration goes all the way around to the back. It's been a while since we watched the Shirley Temple Heidi movie. That might make a nice family movie night together while we eat our beef stew, which I still have to finish. But before I do, I think we've got a storm rolling in here. We've actually had thunder lately, more so than what we're used to, and all the Midwesterners laugh. I think we've had 3 occurrences of thunder in the last week. And sometimes we don't even get 3 per year. So it's been pretty fun. But before the rain hits, I feel like it's on its way. I want to pick some flowers, cut some flowers to put together a bouquet for my friend when I drop dinner off to her tonight. So let's do that, and then let's finish dinner. this. Look at all the different colors. There's this sort of greenish blue, and then it fades over to this pink purple.
And then to that green.
I love it. That's so pretty. That's one of the most unique heads of hydrangea I've ever seen.
Look how pretty that is.
It's so pretty.
Let's go get some black-eyed Susans.
Haley came back from clipping black-eyed Susans with a leaf in her hair. Ooh. That is a filbert leaf. That one fell from our hazelnut tree back there. We can add that to our bouquet. Oh, that's gonna be so pretty. And then
we need white.
I think for a pop of white, we'll grab some of these carrot blossoms. We want to do nice long stems for them so that we can cut it down if we need to.
Where? Here?
Yeah, right there. There.
How about this one? Here?
Yep, be careful. There we go. These are so pretty. I can't believe we grew these.
I know.
I remembered that I wanted to bring my friend dessert along with dinner, so I've got just basic Ghirardelli brownie mix from Costco. Those brownies are in the oven right now. They take longer than these feta chive muffins. And this is such a throwback for me. I don't think I've made these feta chive muffins as an adult. This is a recipe that my sisters and I made all the time when we were teenagers. We discovered it at our piano teacher's house. Have I ever told you about my childhood piano teacher? Bless her heart. She swore like a sailor, smoked like a chimney, wrapped the back of my knuckles with a ruler when I would get the fingering wrong on my piano piece, told me that I would never make it as a musician if the only thing I ever played was worship music. But despite all of that, she introduced me to the Taste of Home magazine. And one fateful day when my sister Sarah and I were waiting for my sister Christina to finish her lessons amidst the clouds of cat hair and cigarette smoke, we found this feta and chive muffin recipe in a Taste of Home magazine that she had on her coffee table in the piano room, and the rest is history. This is one of the best recipes, easiest recipes. I can't believe I haven't made it in probably 14 or 15 years, probably since Weston and I got together. I don't think I've ever made this for him, so we'll have to see what he thinks of it. It's literally flour, baking powder, salt, egg, milk, butter, and feta cheese, and chives, chopped chives, which I picked from the garden. So I'm tripling the recipe because we're feeding 2 families and it's that good, you can't eat just one. So let's make it. 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. Why don't you just say 1 tablespoon? Okay, I have our feta chive muffins, which are everything and more that I remember. Delicious. I forgot to say earlier, but I'll link the recipe in the description box because it can be found. I mean, they didn't have a website back when I was taking piano lessons, but They do now, and the feta chive muffins have been added to it. Barley is almost done. I just want to give this a little bit more time before I transfer half of it to this pot that I'm going to leave with my friend for the evening. Brownies are loaded up. I need to put this in there. Not forget the bouquet of flowers that I put together. They live about a half an hour away from us, which means we will be eating in probably a little over an hour. And by that time, Weston will be home, so we'll all be able to eat together. Might be too late by then though to start a movie. We might just settle in and continue listening to, what's the book that we've been listening to? The Hobbit! We actually started the book listening to it on Audible. Narrated by Andy Serkis. Highly recommend that version. We started it on our trip to Idaho, Wyoming, because we had lots of hours on the road, and it's been really fun for us to go through that story as a family. Whoa, it's starting to pour outside. You may notice in this video that things are a little different around here this time around. Did you notice that there was not a sponsor for this video? I say this every time I have a sponsorship. I am so grateful for the brands that I'm able to work with that help me support free content on this channel and help me help support our family. Today's video, however, is made possible by the generous support of the people over on my Patreon page. It's just $5 a month over there, so for the price of a coffee, you can have all of the extra content that I've ever posted. It's not just that month's worth, but the first month that you subscribe, you get everything that I've ever posted. And I've been posting over there for over a year now. Lots of fun content, lots of antique hauls, cook with me videos, tons of gardening videos. So everything that I shared in this video very much goes along with the type of content that I share over on my Patreon. We have so much fun. Also, as kind of a bonus on my Patreon, when you're subscribed over there, you sometimes get early access to the videos that go up on this channel. Sometimes I'll have a video, that was the wonkiest way to pull out something from the oven. Sometimes I'll have a video ready days or weeks before it's gonna go up on this channel. And so I'll share the link to it over on Patreon, and that's like just a fun extra little perk that happens over there. I don't monetize the Patreon exclusive content, so none of the mid-roll ads play or anything like that, and I don't have any sponsors or anything over there. It's just ad-free for you, algorithm free for me, so I get to just post whatever I want, and we have a lot of fun. So thank you, huge thank you to those of you who are subscribed over there, who show so much support and friendship over on that platform. Without that, a lot of what I do over here at this point wouldn't be possible, especially when I'm able to post a video like this one that I didn't actually have to take a sponsor for. So I'm so grateful. It looks like this soup is done. It's time to hit the road, deliver the food, and then enjoy dinner as a family back home. Good, how are you? Here you go. Home again, and it looks like it got a little windy while we were out delivering dinner to our friends. Can I just share a quick story with you all about the goodness of God? An example of how He cares for even minor details in our lives. I was reminded of this, as I am reminded of it every time I drive to our sweet friend's house. We get together quite often. Years ago, we lost my grandpa Gary, and then a couple years later, we lost my grandma Judy. And I've shared over the past few years just how much of a loss that has been in my life and in the life of our family. They were so very dear to us. And I remember thinking, when Grandma passed away and her house was sold, I remember thinking that I would also now be grieving the drive to my grandparents' house, because I didn't know anyone in that area. We didn't have any other family or friends in the area where they lived, and we don't go past it to get to any of the places that we frequent. So I just remember thinking, on top of all of the other things that I would miss about my grandparents themselves mostly, and then also the things related to having them alive and in our lives, I remember thinking that I'm just going to miss this drive that I've driven for the majority of my life whenever we'd go visit them, which was quite often and always during the holiday season. And it was just one of those unexpected losses in addition to losing them. And lo and behold, our friends that we've now been friends with for almost 2 years, it was about a year later after my grandma passed away, they bought a house just a couple of minutes even further from where my grandparents lived. And we get to drive that drive often, multiple times a month. And it's just so sweet how even a small detail in our hearts and in our journey, the Lord knew that our friends would not only fulfill a prayer and a deep desire that Weston and I had, I mean, since before Weston and I got married, that we would have close, special, sweet friends that we hold with so much affection. We love these friends of ours, and they have kids that our kids love. It's just so very special. And just on top of that, the fact that I get to have a little sentimental journey whenever we go to their house, and I get to see the sights along the way that I have seen for a huge part of my life, and I get to sort of exercise that bittersweet part of my heart as we drive down there. And I don't have to let it go, because it's still there. It's still in my life. It was gone for a little while, but God brought it right back when He brought our friends into our life. And I'm so grateful that the Lord is interested in even what can seem to be insignificant details in our life. He's even interested in those, and He's working things for the good of those who love Him. Well, I'm hungry. Smelling the food in the box beside me as we were driving along was making my tummy growl, and I know the kids are hungry too. So I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today as I just kind of slowed down and enjoyed the things that I like to enjoy. You know, even on my slow days, I still have to clean the kitchen. You know, there are things that have to be done, but I'm so grateful that I was able to do the things that I love today, like gardening and cooking and chatting with my kids. That was fun to make that autumn bucket list. I would like to know in the comments what you are putting on your autumn bucket list or your springtime bucket list if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And I got to share with you some goodies that I found at that antique store, and look forward to putting together the fall Decorate With Me video. I will see you for that here September 17th, so in a couple of weeks from now, but there will probably be content going up between now and then on my Patreon. And thanks again so much to those of you who support me over there on Patreon and have made today's video possible. Thanks so much for spending a little part of your day here with me on my channel, and I'll catch you later.